That's a tough one. Let's look it up.
Genre.
Oh yeah, genre. Hey, that reminds me of gender. And for good reason, because a genre is a category. When you like video games, you don't always like every kind or every genre of game. You might love turn-based Japanese RPGs, but not first-person survival horror. Those are two different types or genres of video game. We put other things into genres. We might split our building sets into different categories like, say, easy build, standard, challenge. Books work the same way. Most chapter books are part of a large genre called fiction, which means those books follow a narrative or story made up by the author. But fiction as a genre is pretty generic. Hey, I wonder if those words are also related. So we tend to organize books into specific fiction genres. The Hunger Games and Mrs. Frisby and the Rats of Nim are both fiction books, but they have very different settings and characters. So we put them into different fiction genres. Let's talk about one of the most common fiction genres right now. You know those books that have characters your age who deal with their family and friends and school, stuff like that? We call those kind of stories realistic fiction. Now, just like all fiction books, the story elements in realistic fiction come from the author's imagination. So what makes realistic fiction different from other kinds of fiction? Realistic fiction contains realistic things that exist or could happen in real life. Realistic fiction is set in the real world and follows the same rules we all experience. People are born, go to school, fall in love, download a few apps, go on some diets here and there, fall down, go boom, grow old, and move on to other places. The elements of realistic fiction should feel familiar to most readers, which helps you easily relate to the characters, visualize the story, and make connections to your own life. Realistic fiction authors place their stories inside life as it is, without adding things that are magical, not real, or impossible. Stories with unreal elements are called fantasy, and I'm sure there's a painstakingly crafted video about that genre somewhere. The characters in realistic fiction act in realistic ways. The plot may have twists and turns, but what the characters say and do stays believable. If someone gets knocked off their bike, they won't discover a titanium endoskeleton under their skin and realize they were created in a lab to lead a robotic army. That's not exactly part of our real, everyday experience. In realistic fiction, a bike accident might lead to tears and hurt feelings and maybe a middle school prank war, not a climactic battle of android warriors. Younger readers usually read a specific realistic fiction subgenre written in and about the present called contemporary realistic fiction. These stories are about school-aged young people similar in age to the reader who experience relatable problems readers will connect with and recognize. Contemporary means with your time, so these books are written and set during the life of the reader. Not far in the past or far in the future, but the present, give or take 5 or so years. Contemporary realistic fiction books are great for young readers because the characters encounter the same issues you might be going through and trying to understand. Now, obviously, every reader around the world is unique and one book can't be realistic for everyone. An 8-year-old reader in rural Texas may not see their exact same life in a book about sophisticated teens in urban Hong Kong. But some element of the book, growing up, having trouble at school, moving, and making new friends, may provide a hook to pull you into the story and build understanding. Some of the classic realistic novels your parents and teachers loved at your age are no longer contemporary because they were written and set dozens or hundreds of years ago, back before the internet, back when the whole world was black and white. Wait, is that true? I should check the internet. That doesn't make them less valuable as literature, but sometimes parents and teachers, and they might be watching this, need to remember that it's important for you to discover and explore books with language and situations that reflect your current life. Realistic fiction, like fantasy, can be considered a very broad genre that covers many real-world subgenres for you to read, like sports fiction, historical fiction, mystery, crime fiction, adventure, survival, romance, Bildungsroman, Is that a real thing? Is that German? There are many ways to experience life, and there are many like-minded genre fiction authors that explore, celebrate, or confront those diverse slices of reality. So that's realistic fiction. It contains believable things that could happen and exist in the real world. These books tend to remind readers of their own real-life experiences with family, friends, and school. The characters in a realistic fiction book may look, speak, and act just like you, or they may be very different, but they stay believable. Realistic fiction authors use universal themes like wanting to be accepted and loved, or the pain of loneliness and disappointment in ways readers might recognize from real life. Ooh, that's making me think about my own life. You should probably like, share, and subscribe so I can understand what it feels like to be accepted. How's that for realistic?